the Multimedia Agent Training Session. The goal of this session is to teach the agents at the agent level things they need to know about the new multimedia features. There will be some things you see during this training that will be items you may already be using, maybe some things that have already been set up for you. But this is going to be a shared recording for multiple end users, so understand if there's some things that are optional that you are seeing that will not be available to you, as well as things that have already taken place or licenses you already have. I got an agenda up on the screen, including downloading and installing the Chronicall desktop, which is required to take advantage of the multimedia features, including logging in and out of your skill groups and being in a ready, not ready status to take phone calls. So we'll go through each of these items. I'll kind of keep this on the side of the screen to keep me in line, as well as to keep us on track with this training. All right, you're looking at my desktop. First thing on the agenda is downloading and installing a Chronicall desktop. Now, I already have these installed, but I'm going to teach you how to do it in case it has not already been done for you. To access the Chronicall desktop download, you'll open up a browser and navigate to a URL that will be provided to you by your management. That URL may be a IP address followed by a :9080. When you enter that into a browser, you'll likely see a screen like this asking you to download the Chronicall desktop. Of course, pick Windows or Mac. This training today is focused on the Windows platform. When you click on that, it'll start a simple download, and I'm just going to open up an article to show you those step-by-steps. But when you run that download, first thing it's going to ask you which shortcuts you want to have on your screen. I would highly recommend you at least have the first one. You're welcome to uncheck the second one. The third one will not apply to you, as that's more for our wallboard feature. And scrolling down, the install is really quite easy. Just click next all the way through, nothing too complicated. The only thing you'll need to enter in is a screen will pop up asking you where Chronicall is located. The address you put here will be the same address that you entered in earlier to download the desktop application. It's the IP address of where Chronicall is installed and the port number. Simply press OK. If it is a correct address, you will get this window down here asking you for credentials. If it's incorrect, you'll probably be prompted to enter it again. At that point, you may reach out to your management to get assistance. But I'll show you what it looks like in real time. I have mine already in place. When you successfully install those, you'll have those shortcuts like mine in the top left-hand corner. In particular, this first one, or I should say the one I have highlighted and moving around here, is the Chronicall desktop. That was the first option that I suggested you definitely install that one. The second one is definitely optional. This one is how you sign into your desktop. This will be your ability to make yourself able to receive phone calls and control other features that you'll learn about during this training. So when you turn on your computer, or if you double click on the shortcut, you'll see the pop-up screen asking you to sign in that you saw in that article. Here's mine. First, you'll find your name out of the list, and you'll notice it's a drop-down list. You can find yourself. It's alphabetical. It also includes the extension number next to the named extensions. So in this case, I know my name is Kelly, so I'm going to select that, or I can start typing in my extension and find it much easier. So once you've selected your name with the extension following it, you can then put in your password, and the default password is your extension. So just type in your numbers, and you may choose to click the Remember Me option, and that'll save it. If you are sharing your PC with other agents, you may consider keeping that unchecked so that you don't have to keep entering that in for each other. All right, I'm going to go ahead and click on OK, and that's going to sign me into my dashboard. You'll see a few things pop up on the screen. These are some other features included with the dashboard. Disregard these. I'm just going to hide these. And we have a presence tool. However, the first time you sign in, you might not see any of these tools. But you'll know that you are, in fact, signed into your dashboard because you'll see a system tray icon in the bottom right-hand corner. This icon looks like the one on my screen now in the bottom right. Is that blue square with the Zima software logo inside of it. Notice that you may not see that all the time. It might actually be hidden at times in this hidden icons window here. Just open that, find it there. You can keep it there if you'd like, or drag it down, completely up to you. The most important tool you'll use with this dashboard is the Presence tool. The Presence tool, right-click on that icon, and you'll see your options, and it's up at the very top, big bold letters, most important thing. When you open up your presence tool, and this is mine right here in the center of the screen, you may choose to keep it over on the side. You could resize this thing, make it just right for you. But the Presence tool includes some great features, including the ability to see other agents. You can create filters to only show members of your team. You can see who's on the phone, who they're on the phone with, who's on break, pictures added, everything. I personally like to use it as a directory so that I can see who is available, and I can see their number as well, their extension number. The important thing for you to focus on, however, is the very top. And I'm going to shrink this down so you're only focused on what you need to worry about now, which is yourself up at the very top. And it shows my current status. And since I dialed into this webinar to record this, I am talking on the phone to this phone number. And as well as the user ready option. Okay, so I'm successfully logged into my dashboard, but it does not mean I'm ready to take phone calls until this switch is in the on position. User ready, off. If I'm ready to take phone calls, simply flip that switch into the on position and I will start receiving phone calls. Also make sure that the multimedia channel in the top right hand corner has the correct option selected. If you're doing this for voice calls, voice only will be the option you need to worry about. Future releases, in the very near future, you'll see things like web chat, voice and chat, and email integration, and as well as some others coming out. But for this webinar, just worry about the voice only. Okay, so I can take calls from the skill groups while I'm logged in like so. Now, when I'm ready to take a break, and by the way, you can move this thing around, resize it, you can even minimize it and then reload it as you need it. It doesn't have to be on your screen, you'll still be logged in and ready to take calls. But when you are ready to take a break, you'll flip that switch into the off position, and you'll notice that this window pops up in the middle of my screen asking me, why am I going on break? Why am I logging out of the phone? And the list that's available to me is customized to myself or maybe members of my team. Your list may look very different than mine. And this is an optional feature. You may not even see a list if your management decided they're not worried about making you make or choose these options. So if you're going on lunch, select lunch. In this case, I'm doing a training, so I'm going to select that option. What that does is it allows your management to see in real time if you are not taking phone calls, if you're in a break status or not ready status, as we call it, for what reason? So that if you're not at the desk, they can actually see, oh, well, you're at lunch, or they can also measure how long you're taking for these different purposes. So, of course, know that not only could they always see how long you're taking breaks for, but now they can have a better understanding of for what reasons. When you are done with your break, you get back to your desk, whatever it is, you do need to put yourself back into a ready position, ending your break. And to do so, just flip that switch back into the green, and you are ready to receive group calls. All right, speaking of receiving calls, this is an optional feature, but when you get call pops, when you get a phone call, you may see a pop-up on your screen, and I'm just going to do a quick demo that looks like this guy right here. It'll tell you who is calling, and this is the bottom right-hand corner, by the way, but who is calling. So the caller ID will be above this phone number here, what phone number they're calling from, their location if available, and of course a timestamp. It also will include the group that they're calling into. So if you are a part of multiple groups, like support and sales as an example, you will actually see in text right here what group the call is associated to so that you can answer that appropriately and you are aware of what type of call it is. The account code feature is at the very bottom. Again, this is optional. You may see the call pop without this window, but if you see this window, that means that your management has set up some codes that they want you to choose from to associate to this call. Some of the common account code types are who is calling. So if you have some common vendors that you're always working with, you can select who that vendor is. Why they're calling, so the purpose of the call, pretty straightforward, as well as the result of the call. What was the conclusion? So as an example, I'm just going to pretend that I'm getting a call from Avaya, the phone provider. They're actually calling with a support question, so I'll tag it as a support call. And lastly, we booked an appointment with my support team, so I'm just going to select it as appointment booked. How you select them, you can start free typing like you saw me do to shorten that list, or you can click on it and see a drop-down menu. I have a few hundred options, but you will most likely have a lot less than me. So it may be very simple for you to just click that menu or drop down menu and select the option you are hoping to choose. You can tag it with as many values as you want, but the reason why you want to do this is it allows your company to better report on not only call activity, we could already do that with our software, but the purpose of the calls, the success of the calls, what percentage of calls you're getting for each reason, so forth. Okay, so when you're done tagging the call, and again, this will up here when your phone rings, so immediately, but it'll stay on your screen even if that call ends, giving you a little bit of time to fill that out. If another call comes in, they'll actually start stacking on top of each other, as you probably saw mine do just a moment ago. So it'll actually stack like this, and there you have the next call, and this one I can actually see does include a group of cells. To conclude a box, just click that check mark. That's not going to hang up on the call or anything like that. It's just closing the box out, saying that, you know what, I put all the data I need in there, go ahead and close the box. And then you can move on to the next call and tag it with the appropriate values. If you ever maybe close the box prematurely, or you think of something later that you wanted to add to a call pop, you can right click on this system tray icon that you saw before, and we actually have an option for recent calls. It allows me to see each of the recent calls, and therefore I can reopen it. So we'll say this one right here in the middle. I'm going to reopen that, and then I can tag it with the appropriate values. Or perhaps you just wanted to see the calls that you've been associated with in case you forgot someone's phone number or their name. You can come in here, find it, open it up, and you'll see that information. Okay. Moving forward, we talked about the account codes. Let's talk about the after call work timer. When you conclude a call that's coming in from one of the groups, so not necessarily coming in from a direct call, but a group call, you may have an after call work timer. Again, this is optional based on the decisions of your management, but when you conclude a call, you'll see a screen like this in the bottom right-hand corner. It's called after call work timer, and you'll see it's counting down from 30 seconds, which is the default and what I personally use. While this is counting down, again, this appears when the call ends, I will not get another group call during this time. It's a nice little buffer, allowing me to maybe finish up a little bit of paperwork, or if I needed to take a break, no time better than now to put that user ready switch back into the off position. As you notice, it starts flashing red and blue when it gets down to 5 seconds, and when that timer is gone, I am ready for another call. I'm going to open that up again because there's a few more options I wanted to discuss, including the ability to end it early. So let's say you're done with your work and you're ready to help out with the next call. Click that check mark and that'll end it early. Another optional option is a snooze button. This will buy you more time. You'll notice I'm about 15 seconds right about now. I just bought myself 30 more seconds by pressing that snooze button. It's just a great option in case you just needed just a little bit more time, maybe not necessarily a break, but just needed just a moment longer. Now, keep in mind, your management does have the tools with our Chronicall software to track this, so they can identify if anybody is abusing that snooze button and how long you're using on average for your after call work. So don't think that you can get away with keep pushing that again and again. Your management will be able to track that. Okay, so I'll pretend like I'm done, and I'll click that check mark, goes away, and then I can receive the next call. Last feature, well, not necessarily a feature, but let's talk about what you need to do when you're done for the end of the day. Now, it's not as simple, I should say, as just going into a not ready position. Some companies like to do this instead. I should clarify. You may have a done for the day option, and then that's all your management wants you to do. However, the more common method is to truly sign out, which is by closing the system tray. If you right click on it, you'll have two options, either the ability to close it right out or to go to user and sign out. If you go user sign out, it'll take you back to the sign in screen, but you as an agent will be logged out of the group. You will no longer get those group calls. So I would do this at the end of the day. If you close it completely, it'll just disappear. My presence tool disappears. I'm no longer logged into any of the groups. I cannot receive group calls. Now, if I want to reopen it, I have my shortcut, just like we started with, to open up the sign-in screen, and I can log back in, or this will appear when you turn on your computer each morning, by the way, as well. Okay, well, we covered each of the items in the agenda here. I do want to point out that we do provide a great help center on our website, and I'll show you where that is now. Let me pull that up. Simply go to zimasoftware.com, and at the very top of the screen, you'll see a support option. If I open that up, you will find a help center with some nice tutorials and also a search window so you can look up the different items you're looking for and go from there. But honestly, you probably don't need to worry about this too much. If you have any issues, reach out to your management team. They'll be able to probably answer most of your questions, and if they cannot, they will work with our support team. You have focuses of your own you need to worry about. Okay, well, thank you for watching this session. If you have any questions, again, work with your management. They'll probably reach out to us direct or work with your telephone provider. Thanks again, and have a great